Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining today's webinar, Stay in Touch Cloud PMS Configuration and User Training Series, Advanced Reporting, presented by Stay in Touch Implementation Consultant, Aldrich Schultz. I'm your host, Erin Fisher, the content writer here at Stay in Touch. Today's presentation will cover advanced reporting in Stay in Touch Cloud PMS. In this webinar, we will cover the following topics: custom exports, report and export scheduling, and analytics. We will have a short Q&A session at the end of the presentation. Feel free to submit questions throughout the presentation, and we will answer them in the order they are received at the end. And that's all I have right now. Aldrich, I'm going to hand the presentation over to you.
Thank you, Erin, for that. And welcome everyone to our Advanced Reporting webinar. I'm going to be discussing our custom exports, which is going to be a tool that will allow you to customize exports in the Stay in Touch PMS. In order to get there, we're going to go to our menu stack, into reports, and schedule a report or export. Now, once you're actually there, you have three different options, and we're going to go down to the bottom to our custom exports. As you can see, there are a few items that we already have in here. This is going to be where your current exports are going to be housed once you generate them. In order to create a new export, you'll simply need to go to New Export. And here's where you'll be able to pick from a list of different data tables that we have available. Now, in each one of these data tables, you're going to have available fields that are specific to that data space, and these are going to allow you to further customize the report. As you can see here, we have data spaces based off of various areas, such as allotment, if you're utilizing that, company, financial transactions, group, guests, reservation, stays, and travel agent. In order to go into the space, you just simply click on one of your options, and it will reveal to you the different field selections that you'll have available. Now, each one of the data spaces that you click on will have customized fields specific to that space. So for instance, we're utilizing guest data, and this contains guest-related data fields that will export one row per guest record. Now, each of these are going to be specific, like I said. So to learn more about each and every individual space, please go to our help desk knowledge base, where we have information based off of our custom exports. I'm going to go ahead and generate one of our exports now. And in order to do that, I'm going to select on a few custom fields. Now for this, I can go ahead and start out by selecting a few items. And once I've actually selected those items, you'll see here that I have a set order and label option. Now this is going to allow us to customize the order in which we display this information. I can go ahead and click on different things like city and drag it and drop it to where I want it to be ordered in terms of where those fields are located. Now our fields are going to actually turn into columns on our export. So keep this in mind when you're generating the report. We can also custom label these. So if you want to customize a specific name, perhaps city, we want to name town, we can do that as well, and it'll appear on our export as town. There are also options for you to further filter. So if you want to add an additional filter, we have a couple of options in here. One is going to be for options. And as you can see, your options are going to be based off of country, language, and VIP status. Okay. Further from there, we can add an additional filter. And if we take a look at general, general is going to give us the option to select a field, email, mobile, or phone, based off of the data space we're in for guests. And from there, we can pick other options. Okay, so if I select phone, I can also select an option for values. Okay. Now you can further customize this with a different variety of options in here or a combination of such to further customize your export and how that will appear when it is generated. At the next point, you will be able to select a frequency. This frequency will determine when your report will be generated, as well as how frequently it will be generated. So if we would like for this report to generate daily, we can make that selection, or you can also opt to have these run once and or in your end of day. So for night audit, you can actually choose a customized export to run during the end of day night audit process. We're going to stick with daily, and we're going to choose for this to run once daily. As well, we do have the option to pick other repeat schedules. So hourly, weekly, monthly, once, and per is going to be a customizable option for you. Okay, I'm going to have this actually start on my current date, which is today, the 27th. And we can also choose a start time. Since I am at 11 a.m. Eastern, I can choose to have this actually start at noon. So my first report or export will be generated starting at noon, and it will generate every day once at noon. Okay. You can also set this to end at any specific time or day. So after so many days, on a specific date, or never, which means it will continue to generate as long as this option has been selected. From here, we can also choose our delivery method. The delivery method will allow us to export this document to an email of your choosing. That can be an email or the email to a distribution list. Secure file transfer, which is great for ingesting into any other programs such as back office systems, CSM systems, CRM systems, so on and so forth. Okay. Here we also have a few options for shared drive. So there is the Google Drive as well as Dropbox. I'm going to select email, and from here, if your users exist in the system, you can actually just start typing in their names and they will populate automatically for selection. Or you can simply type in an email address and press enter to enter an email address for a user that doesn't exist in the system. Once that is complete, you will have the option to enter a custom export name. So we can say webinar profile export. From here, we can also select output, which is great because we can choose whether we want this to come out in CSV format, XML, or JSON. We'll go ahead and select CSM because we'll be opening this in an Excel type software. Our header just allows us additional information, and we can go ahead and save that export. Now, once the export is actually saved, if we go back to custom exports, you'll notice that that's been added to the list of exports that we've created thus far. We can see here that this is going to run after every 1 day at 12, and it starts today and runs forever. Like I said, this will generate to whatever delivery method you've chose, and we've chosen today an email address, so we should receive this at 12 noon. Okay. As you can see here, there are multiple options for you to generate different exports, and additional information for how you can actually generate those exports can be found in our reports guide and our knowledge base. Okay. If you do have any questions about this, please feel free to submit those and I'll be happy to answer those for you. But as you can see, like I said again, this gives you a multitude of different ways that you can actually pull data based off of what is housed in the PMS. I'll go ahead and go through a couple of these options. Actually, let's go back into that and we can take a look at, for instance, financial transaction data. And as you can see here, because each one of our field selections is going to be custom based off of the data set that you're working from, each one of these exports will give you an option to create something custom so that you can get exactly the data you need to pull out of the system. Let's go ahead now and take a look at our custom report scheduling. Now, you'll find report scheduling to be in the same area if you're going from your menu stack. Of course, it's going to be in reports, and we're going to go to scheduled reports. Scheduled reports are generated from the reports module, of course, here in the Stay in Touch PMS application. And you can either run them manually or you can schedule it to generate to a fixed time or on a periodic basis. The time of report generation and destination for the report is configured in this module that we're going to go through now. As you can see here, we have 2 arrival reports that have already been generated. But in order to create a new report schedule, we're going to go ahead and, of course, at the upper right-hand corner, click on New Report Schedule. From there, we'll be able to select any one of these reports that we would like to schedule for automatic distribution. We can go ahead and actually search here using the field, or we can, of course, scroll to select a report of our choosing. I'm going to select the comparison report. And as you can see here, the first area where we'll start is going to be the schedule parameter. In the schedule parameters, you're able to set a time period. So specifically for this report, we're going to choose yesterday. And additional options for if you want to include certain data on the report, such as ledger data here. We'll go ahead and select that one. Additionally, this report does have the option to choose a format, and that's going to be available in CSV, PDF, text, and JSON. We'll go ahead and again here select CSV and continue to schedule details. In the scheduling details, this is very similar to our custom export tool, where you're going to choose how often you want this to repeat. For this one, we're going to choose to also do daily, and we'll have this generate once a day. Again, we'll have this start on today, the 27th, at a start time of 12 noon. I'll go ahead and select for this particular report to end on a certain date. And we'll do the end of June. Okay, from there, we'll select how we want this to be distributed. And for our delivery method, we'll again choose email. And this will be a great report to actually send to, let's say, a manager distribution list or an individual email. But again, I'm going to go ahead and type in my name. And since I am a user in the system, it will auto-populate and I can just simply select. After that's completed, go ahead and click on Create Schedule. And as you can see, if we go back to Scheduled Reports, we have one additional report that runs after every one day at 12 noon. And it starts today on 5/27 and ends June 30th of 21. Okay, so that will be automatically delivered to us today at noon. And if you'd like to generate any additional reports, of course, we do have a list of available reports here that you can scroll through and generate those reports. Now, for our main reports, of course, those generate beautifully on screen, but these are meant to specifically be delivered, like I said, to the various areas of either directly to an email or email distribution, a shared drive, or securely via our SFTP option. Let's go ahead and jump over to our scheduled exports. In scheduled exports, this is going to work similarly to scheduled reports. However, for scheduled exports, these are going to offer you the option to extract property-specific data in the form of a CSV file or Secure File Transfer Protocol, or SFTP. As you can see here, there's a list of exports that have already been generated to be automated to wherever they're going to be sent. However, to create a new export schedule, you will of course go to the upper right-hand corner to select New Export Schedule. In New Export Schedule, you'll select one of the exports of your choosing. And for this one, we're going to choose financial transactions. This is a list for all hotel financial transactions during a date range sorted by date. So once we click on the option, we'll be able to select a time period. This will include yesterday. We can also include a CSV heading. Let's go ahead and take a look at export details. And again, similarly to our other schedules, we are able to set a repeat. So I'm going to run this one once. Now, specifically for scheduled exports, the run once will allow you to run the report immediately upon creating the schedule. I'm going to choose email delivery, and of course type in my name and create the schedule. Now we can go back to our scheduled exports, take a look at our options, and as you can see here, we have a financial transactions export scheduled to run once. Specifically for our scheduled exports, we can go to an option here to run immediately. So if I select that, it'll automatically be generated to whatever delivery method we've chosen to run instantly to our email inbox or secure file transfer protocol. Okay, so that's one way that we can actually get that export out to us much sooner. Now, I do want to mention exports versus reports. The items listed under scheduled exports do not exist as standalone reports in Stay in Touch Cloud PMS. This is why you do see them in different lists so that they can be generated separately as they are providing data based off of commissions, financial transactions, future reservations, last month reservations, last week reservations, nationality statistics for certain hotels in certain markets, reservations, rooms, as well as stash reward memberships. Again, this is specific to our custom or scheduled exports. This is also going to be a permission-based option for your users. So in order to have your users be able to utilize this, you can work with our support team to get this activated on specific user roles, or if you have admin access, you can activate it for specific user roles in your user settings. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at our next area. And for our next area, we're going to take a look at a few other options that we have here in our scheduled exports. And we'll take a look at the exports that are going to be available. Now, as you can see, there are different options in here. As I did mention, these are going to be pertaining to specific areas of data that you want to pull out of the system that are not normally available on your hotel reports. If you do have any additional questions about any of these reports or exports, please feel free to travel over to our Stay in Touch knowledge base, and there is a list breaking down each and every one of these exports available to you to be able to be scheduled. Now we'll go ahead and take a look at our analytics dashboard. To get to our analytics dashboard, you're going to find this in our dashboard area of the Stay in Touch Cloud PMS. To get to the analytics dashboard, you're going to simply switch or toggle from summary view of the dashboard to analytics. Now in our analytics, you will have the option to switch between housekeeping, front desk, and manager dashboards and view detailed statistics for these departments. The intent of these dashboards is to provide a platform for hotel employees in various leadership roles to have better visibility of the important operational data in their respective areas in a way that is easily consumable and customizable. With that said, let's go ahead and take a look at a couple of these dashboards available to you in analytics. The first dashboard we're going to take a look at is going to be an overview. Now, the overview is going to be a housekeeping dashboard, and it's a snapshot of room status for the day, primarily used to understand where the house is in terms of need versus available rooms. If we take a look at the dashboard, we're actually able to see that in here there is performed versus remaining. This is also broken down by arrivals, departures, stayovers, and rooms. You can see that compared to remaining, you're able to see reservations based off of housekeeping that are yet remaining in terms of arrivals. We can also see departures that are yet to check out of the hotel, stayovers, and also rooms that are dirty. As these are remaining, they will eventually transform to performed once housekeeping goes through each of the activities needed to complete any rooms left for arrivals, any rooms that have yet to be departed, and any stayover clean rooms. From there, we'll go ahead and take a look at priority, which is another housekeeping dashboard. And this allows for a clear understanding of status that can be then used to easily shift resources to address any areas of concern in real time. In this dashboard, we're able to see our arrivals, vacant rooms, and departures. So here, housekeeping departments are able to shift those resources needed based off of activities that have been completed. As you can see, there are a couple of inspected rooms, but that supersedes what's available in terms of vacant and dirty rooms. As there are less dirty rooms available, you can start to shift your resources from cleaning rooms perhaps to other items because you only have 14 remaining, but compared to the arrivals that are coming in, you still have not met the number of vacant dirty rooms that need to be prepared for your arrivals that are going to be needing rooms. Okay. However, you can compare that to rooms that are already ready and the arrivals that are remaining. Okay, so here you can get an easy visualization of data that can be presented to your team to understand what needs to be prioritized in terms of housekeeping work. Let's go ahead and take a look at our next dashboard. Now, our arrivals dashboard for analytics is based for front office users. And this is going to be an overview of arrivals and departures displayed by status and current state. In the arrivals dashboard, this is going to provide an immediate overview of how many reservations still need to be accommodated and how many of these may be more imminent early arrivals. You can correlate the corresponding room statuses for vacant rooms and get an immediate visual understanding of any potential shortfalls that are under the department's control. As we can see here, we have some remaining arrivals as opposed to 2 that have already checked in. And this is going to be very similar to your housekeeping overview, where they too will be able to understand remaining activity versus performed. As well, we can see that we have some vacant and inspected rooms, 64 of those, as opposed to the 14 vacant not ready rooms. As well as departures, where we have 3 remaining departures and no departures that have actually checked out for the day. We also do have some filter options in each one of these analytics dashboards that will show different things like room types. So you can see this data specifically based off of room type. So if we do select our select queen room and we apply the filter, we can see this activity based specifically off of the select queen room type. Let's go ahead and take a look at our next dashboard. And that's going to be our activities dashboard. And this is also geared towards our front desk. Now, in the activities dashboard, we're actually able to see a visualization of how the check-ins and checkouts are distributed throughout the day. This helps identify possible trends and cycles and plan for staffing needs in the department. So as we start to see the trend of different activity, we can compare this over days. So for instance, if you take a look at your calendar here, you can start to go back and see how that trend progresses over a period of time. Some days you may not have any activity, and some days you may have higher activity. Everything is going to be, of course, color-coded so that there's easy reference to exactly what tasks have been done throughout your business day. Next, let's take a look at room performance. And our room performance analytics dashboard provides a comprehensive overview of ADR as well as RevPAR and occupancy displayed from multiple time frames. As we take a look at this dashboard, we can see here that this is primarily intended to be used by senior hotel leadership to understand trends and make informed business decisions from current and historical data. The key areas covered are room performance here, and we can also use different filters in this dashboard to show last year's information, and we can compare that to same date last year or same day last year. There's also a mixed view that can combine the two. We'll do same date last year. to compare to the same calendar date. We can apply that filter. And as you can see, you will see a comparison based off of current information and last year's same date information. This provides insight into the RevPAR, ADR, and occupancy of day, month, and year comparisons in a single square, thus informing critical business decisions around booking and rate strategy. This can also, as we see here, show, like I said, the same day last year. If you're looking to compare this, of course, across a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday specific day of the year, and of course, a mixed view of that. Okay, so if we apply that filter there, it's going to show a mix of both date and day. Our next analytics dashboard we're going to take a look at is going to be distribution. Now, distribution shows the mix of business through a combination of the 4 different chart types below. Okay, so for distribution, we're able to see in our filters different options that are going to be available for filtering. Now, this filter allows you to view the chart by occupancy, occupied rooms, ADR, RevPAR, and room revenue. This can also be aggregated by room type, market, source, segment, and origin if these are demographics that you're using at your property. This view can also be changed from chart or to a grid. So we can apply those filters and we can see across a grid how that distribution looks. Now, also in terms of distribution, these chart types are, like I said, aggregated by several key facets of the business and provide a powerful planning tool. The PACE chart, which is going to be our next chart, is going to illustrate the distribution of bookings over the course of a date range and allows for adjustments to booking strategies. Okay, so as you can see here, we're going to display on the books activity as well as new and cancellations. For our pace and for a particular day, it helps managers gauge where they probably need to stimulate or throttle demand using pricing and availability levers. By distinguishing between on the books, new, and cancellation data, managers can also rapidly assess the efficacy of such actions and fine-tune them accordingly. PACE data is computed dynamically in real time and can be separated in the same way as the distribution view. As you can see here, we can apply a filter and view this also in a line format. We can also select a day here if we're looking to view this data across a specific date, and select things like room type and specific market, source, segment, and origins. These are going to be demographics that are found on the reservations, so it makes for categorization of PACE very simple. Filters can also be added here where you can save and actually go back to your favorite view once you've saved this to always have those available to quickly toggle to if needed. Let's go ahead and take a look at this in our line view. And as you can see here, the data is different, presented the same, but in a different view. to represent it in a line format. Okay, let's go ahead and go back to our dashboard of analytics. And as you can see, we have all of the different types of analytics dashboards here. And again, like any of our other advanced reporting features, if you'd like to learn and read more about these different analytics dashboard views, please go to our help desk knowledge base for Stay in Touch, and you'll be able to see all of the different views and the breakdown and explanation of how you can utilize these to better view data in your system. Okay, that completes our review of advanced reporting features. And we're going to go over to questions if we have any viewers that currently have any questions about the functionality review, or if anything was missed that you would like for us to review.
All right, thank you, Aldrich, for that insightful presentation. I'd now like to turn over the floor for questions. Remember, you can submit questions through the question box in the middle of the control panel. So I don't see any questions right now. I'll give everyone a few more seconds to enter those. All right, since there are no questions, I'd like to take to the floor to offer some final thoughts. So in this webinar, we covered the following topics: custom exports, report and export scheduling, and analytics. With that, I'd like to conclude our presentation. Thank you all for coming, and if you have any additional questions, feel free to email me at erin.fisher@stayintouch.com. Thanks again.